Yo, it's your boy Arthur J. Back with another video. Lately I've been talking about spiritual ley lines and things of that matter. Tonight I'm going to talk about a subject matter that's more, I don't want to say mainstream, something that I had to detour from because I was heavily into sports, specifically football, college football. And I actually, when I was younger, I was athletic. I played sports. Not so much football, but I was athletic. I was into sports like activities, not too much football. Again, I wasn't a great football player, but I was athletic. Used to like to race a lot. And for my size, I can run. Basketball, I was kind of good at. Well, considering, like I said, I wasn't scoring 100 points a game, but I was somebody who, I wasn't just on the sideline, lazy, sloppy. I was not athletic. Um, I said that to say, later on, in my journey, especially with becoming conscious, I didn't feel right about sports anymore. And I also used to bet on sport games a lot. No love lost, no love found. Um, win some, lose some. I never really hit big on it, but I did have hit a few times. It's just the energy of it. It's just the manipulation of it. It didn't sit well with me. So, I feel like this subject matter is drawn. It was drawn to me because it's just like all of my life experiences. I'm starting to like look more in depth into them and research heavily on my life experiences because I'm the only one who's lived this life as this being. So I've been researching heavy, man, like real heavy. And again, sports was a big part of, if you were 80s baby, 90s baby, sports was a big part of your life, whether you played them or you watched them. Sports was a big part of your life. Two-hand touch, tackle football, all that. You had to play almost, or you were going to get called a five-letter word that starts with S, Well, if you say it now, you get canceled and your channel disappears, but, it seems like more of that energy pertains to this generation now than it did the ours. But it was a lot of that S word energy back then too. Don't get it twisted. But now it's just like flamboyant. But cause like if you didn't play sports and you were a boy in my era, or you didn't play with the kids outside in my era, you took some brutal ones for the team. And yeah. But anyway, I don't want to drift off too much. I really gotta make myself comfortable because I'm not really a camera person. I have to break the shyness because there's an assignment and there's an assignment at risk and there's a lot at stake. So just bear with me and again, you don't have to accept the information as the truth. This information can be researched online and through books and apps like GPT. And so, again, I don't know everything. I'll never claim to know everything. There's so much information that I'm learning now. I just feel like I've been stupid my whole life, to really be honest with you. It's stuff that I felt spiritually, but I didn't really tap into it because it felt weird or the environment environments and the settings that I placed myself in, it didn't pertain to that information. So it got delayed. And that's another message I have for like the kids and like the younger adults that watch my videos. When you get downloads and you feel drawn to certain information, the research and study that information. Don't delay that opportunity because um you're gonna miss out what the universe already had in place for you. And and some people they never really tap into it at all. And we're here to fulfill assignments. We all were assigned to fulfill a purpose in this life, and that's what I honestly know within. Whether that purpose seems good or bad, I don't judge life with those two words, good or bad. Good or bad does not pertain to the life that I live. Um, but again, if you feel drawn to certain information and there's people or there's environments that are not blocking you necessarily, but kind of holding you back from tapping in how you should, then those environments and those people are people that you honestly need to let go of, not with aggression, not with bitterness, but just for the sake of you fulfilling your purpose in life. You're gonna be the only one in this life. So however they live their life and whatever they do in their life, it pertains to them and not you. So that being said, I'm gonna talk about sports and athletics a little bit. I'm not gonna hold you. This information again can be researched online, Google, ChatGPT, certain books. That's what I use. Um, and again, this information is not gonna always be online. And so, you might want to save these videos and download these videos too, just in case more than the videos get deleted. If you get my drift. So today, the topic that I'm going to talk about, again, is sports. A lot of kids, especially from where I'm from, with supernatural athletic abilities, they live their whole life just to experience that draft day, just to feel that field, just to be a part of those associations and those teams, and just to hold that jersey up and, being able to say, hey man, I can buy mom's a house, I can take care of my family, just to be in that position. It kind of boosts your pride and your manhood, you know. Um, Womanhood too. Again, um, this is unisex information. Um, but there's two specific leads that I used um, within this information. So I don't want anybody to feel excluded. Um, whatever sport you play, I'm talking about two main sports right now, the NFL and the NBA. And I will get into other sports later because I'm not done with the research. It's just I feel drawn to put this information out for somebody that this information needs to be said too, because a lot of our young guys play football and basketball, especially where we're from. Our young guys, they live their whole life. They breathe the sport that they play. Everything pertains to that sport until they make it, and even after they make it. Um, yeah, man. So I'm not doing this to discourage you if you're a guy that wants to go to the NFL or the NBA, I just want you to be conscious to what you are facing and what you're getting yourself into, not only as a athlete, but as a fan of these athletes. What you're really doing when you're even tuning into this whole system that they have going on, and you know who runs the system. So yeah. So I've been doing a little research on sports, and you know, the dark side of sports, the side of sports that they don't necessarily make public knowledge, but if you're spiritual and you tap in to the knowledge and you get away from certain deities and entities, then this information, you know, it's like the download becomes the memory, and it comes to your memory, and then you're like, oh, damn, that's what that was. I knew it was that. And then you're like, damn. So, professional sports leagues. Professional sports leagues. The NBA and the NFL are the two I'm going to talk about because that's where our young guys end up going to the most. So don't feel offended again if I don't name other sports associations or talk about other sports genres. These two are the biggest in the USA, right? Football would be the biggest. If you go to Brazil or if you go to Mexico or, Canada, Russia, Africa, different continents, football is the main sport. Football, soccer is the main sport. But today I'll be talking about NFL football, and the NBA, right? Because those are the two sports that are glorified the most, and they get the most press, and they have the most fans, right? So the NBA and the NFL teams are not just sports franchises, right? They're ritual symbols, right? Astral totems, and energy channeling systems, right? And a lot of you might know this information already. It's not for you. So those who don't know this information, because it's stuff that I still don't know that I'm learning. So we build with each other, bro. Like I said, sports, the energy channeling systems, and I'm gonna get deep into that in a minute, right? Each team name and the logos, they represent something spiritual. What do they represent spiritually? The city placements, where the stadiums sit within those city placements. All of that is not a coincidence. None of it is a coincidence at all. Like, for instance, out there in California, Golden State Warriors, where do they play? The Oracle. And I didn't even get deep into that one. I didn't even use them for an example in this video, but I mean, I'm just painting a picture, right? So each team name, logo, city placement is a part of a coded system. The coded system of spiritual manipulation and territorial claim, right? For instance, and I use specific sports teams, the ones that stood out the most. The Washington Bullets. The Washington Bullets in the 80s, they were a major team, had a lot of fans. Why were they called the Washington Bullets? Did anybody ever think about why they were called the Bullets? And what would you call a team the Bullets in a city like Washington, D.C.? Well, I'm here to tell you what those Washington Bullets represented. They represented and they symbolized state-sanctioned death, especially uptown, northeast, northwest, southeast, the whole DC during the crack era in the 80s. That's what it represented. It represented state sanctioned death. That's what the Washington Bullets represented, right? During DC's crack era, bullets were flying. A lot of deaths. The death toll was high. DC was crazy. I have family from DC, direct family from DC, on the mom's side of the family, right? The team name is normalized the violence that was happening in DC, which, why would you glorify something like that? But rap music is bad, right? But they glorify that too. Hmm. They keep they in mind. Energy trap. Fans would cheer and chant bullets while bullets were flying outside of the arena. Then they changed their name to the Washington Wizards. Why would you change your name from the Washington Wizards to the Washington Wizards when you were the Washington Bullets? Bullets, the Wizards. What's really going on here? What's the pattern? I wonder. The new name, the Wizards, is paying homage to Freemasonry and occult politics. We all know DC is corrupt, and spiritually, sorcery and magic is heavily prone to that part of the grid on the map that they call Washington, D.C. The W logo in the Wizards, it formed a pentagram or a triangle, classic ritual energy. The red, white, and blue, well, that represented Masonic lodges and American rituals. Nothing that these people do is a coincidence, right? If you don't get anything else from this video, I'm not saying I know everything. I don't. Hey, we teach each other, right? Again, if you don't take anything from my videos, well, the main point to every video that I make, this is not a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. All of this shit is staged. You're about to find out why and how. Now, that was the NBA representation. The Washington Bullets and the Wizards, right? Now let's skip to the NFL. What's significant about the NFL? What do we need to know? What's important about the NFL that we need to know? Spiritual. The first team I'm going to call out is the Dallas Cowboys, because that's America's team, right? Right. America is a corporation, right? Right. We do know that, right? Yeah. Yeah. And it has 13 colonies, right? And those 13 colonies represent who? Alright. So, the Dallas Cowboys, what did they use for a symbol? The 5-point star. The Baphomet star. Also used in witchcraft and Masonic lodges. Masonic lodges keep popping up a lot. Freemasonry keeps popping up a lot when associated with these sports. What does Freemasonry and Masonic lodges have to do with athleticism? For an athlete, what's the ties to these Freemasons? What's really going on? Let's go deeper, shall we? Oh, the Dallas Cowboys. There's one specific game every year that they play on a certain pagan holiday. And it's like the biggest game of the season, their regular season. What day do they call that? Thanksgiving. Who are you giving thanks to? We're about to find out. The Thanksgiving game activates nationwide patriotic rituals. a a a nationwide patriotic ritual, not multiple, using mass attention. What does the cowboy represent? It's an archetype of white supremacy and control of the black indigenous energy. So, what else is in Dallas that we don't know about? They also have a hockey team named the Dallas Stars. What do those stars represent? Maybe the cosmos, the indigenous land, the black indigenous land. Stay with me though. I'm not going to get off topic, I promise. Now, let's talk about one of their rival teams in the same conference. See how this works? The same conference as them, right? The NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles, the symbol, is a symbol of Zeus, the Roman Empire, and the American Temple. All, to me, are the same motherfuckers. The artificial motherfucking gods. The humans. In occult terms, it represents surveillance, dominance, and astral projection. So the Philadelphia Eagles, in occult terms, represent dominance. They also represent surveillance, and they also represent astral projection. Philadelphia, what's significant about Philadelphia is the city where the Declaration of Independence is held and several esoteric lodges. Stand with me? Alright, cool. Now, we need to know, for those of you who don't know or have heard but haven't really gotten in depth to who Zeus really is, right? Zeus. Who is Zeus? He is the whitewashed version of the original African sky god. Who is that sky god? Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra. A-M-U-N-Ra. R-A. Amun. What does Amun mean? The hidden one. Ra represents the sun, light energy, divine power. How does all this tie to sports again? Whoa. How does all this tie to sports again? Well, you tell me. How does it all tie to sports? Are they playing sports? Or is this staged spiritual manipulation? See, on the money tip, they have fans, endorsements, commercials, commissioners. They sell products, sell merch, even some other stadiums have food courts and various things, right? I don't want to get too in depth in the wrong thing because I'm trying to stay on topic. But yeah, on the money tip, on the money side, the money is pouring in. But you have to ask yourself, how's the money keep pouring in? Because they have millions and millions of what? Fans. How are they getting these fans? Keep that thought in mind. How are they getting these fans? You're about to find out how they're getting these fans, because I'm going to break the whole shit down too. This is wild. Alright? Don't get this shit twisted. Like, I did some research, and I'm going to break it down even more when I get through with my notes. I wrote some notes down. That's why I'm holding my head down reading. I wrote my notes when I did my research. Stay with me. Right? Sky God. The sky god plus the source creator represents what? All things seen and unseen. So who is Zeus? Zeus is an imitation, a mockery. Zeus is an artificial and a plagiarized god. So this is just telling you through the research and the information that I put out there that this is not about running a ball down the field and cutting your TV on. No. To watch ESPN or all these other sports networks. That's not what you're doing. This is spiritual. What you really saying, Arthur J? What I'm telling you is these people have siphoned energy. They are energy siphoners. If they can get hundreds and thousands of people to come to these games every year to chant, to roar, to scream chants, to show raw emotion, they can siphon the energy. And they control the narrative. And when they control the narrative, you become a consumer. What is a consumer? A consumer is somebody who is drained spiritually, that's been sucked into an illusion, that's part of the matrix. Part of the matrix. This is a simulation. They keep you in the matrix. How are you going to keep going to these games if you don't have no money? You have to work. How are you going to keep buying this merch if you don't have no money? You have to work. You work hard. You work overtime. Some of us even borrow money to go to the games. And what about the kids? You want to leave them out. You want to leave them out the experience. Take the kid to a game. Huh? Take your nephew, take your uncle to a game. Huh? Take them to the games too. Don't just go to the games by yourself. That's selfish. So now I have to work to take not only me to these games. Not only do I have to work to take me to these games, I got to take my kids, my nephews, some of the neighborhood kids. And I'm the one losing because you're getting my money, you're draining my pockets. Some games come on pay-per-view. I gotta pay for NFL ticket. Amongst keeping the lights on in the house. Amongst paying a car note. Amongst all these other things. This is what I'm working for. Repeated cycles, keeping you in the matrix. That's what the matrix does, keep you on repeated cycles. To spiritually manipulate you. Excuse me. To spiritually manipulate you so that you can stay in the matrix and repeat the cycles. And they can keep generating your energy. It's not about the money. They want to generate your energy so they can redirect and control the energy. And they build these stadiums on top of indigenous lands, burial sites, ancient burial sites. Oh, you don't believe me? Let's go to the Saints. Let's go to the N.O.R.E Saints. When the Saints go marching in. The Saints, gold and black. What does gold and black represent? Alchemy and death. The Superdome. What's significant about the Superdome? It's built on black graveyard land. New Orleans is a majority black city. Anyway, also, used during Katrina as a mass trauma site. That was traumatic. There's people who still haven't recovered from Hurricane Katrina, and that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and they still haven't. It's the 20th anniversary this year, and they still haven't recovered. Mentally, anyway, or spiritually. A flashback, they'll see a flashback of what they experienced during Katrina, and they might just break down. Do you see? It's a mass trauma site. So if it's a mass trauma site, what's there? Siphon energy. Winning the Super Bowl after Katrina represented the ritual of resurrection, so the energy got redirected. And it was a sacrifice payoff for all those people who drowned and died during that damn storm. You think you just watching sports? Yeah. If you're a Matrix dweller, you're just watching sports. It's just a game. It's just pure athleticism. Let the boys be boys, man. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Is it not that deep? Or is it that you're not really tapped in? Or is it that you want to deny the truth and you refuse to look into it because you feel like, man, this has been my team for 30 years. 30 years, and you still haven't benefited from being a team. They don't go to the Super Bowl every year. They don't go to the finals every year. In fact, most people who are fans of teams, their team might go to the Super Bowl once every blue moon. I'm not talking about the bench riders, the bandwagoners. I meant the bandwagoners, not the bench riders. I'm not talking about the bandwagoners. Like when New Orleans was winning, New England was winning all those Super Bowls back to back with Tom Brady. And the significance in that too. Just look at his jersey number. Anyway, and they played in Foxborough. Where's Foxborough? It's in Great Britain. Yeah, it's in Great Britain. Yeah. Anglo-Saxon connection, maybe. What are Anglo-Saxon people? Conquerors. Oh, okay. 7th century came about, introduced Christianity, and violently forced Christianity on the people in the land. Oh, okay. So, anyway, yeah, those people. I didn't even mention New England in my notes. I just, my mind was wondering a little bit. So, another significant sports team that a lot of people have noticed that all these sport teams that I'm naming are in majority black cities. Why? You still don't believe you're a God. You still don't believe that you dwell amongst gods. Fuck believe, you still don't know. Because anybody can believe. You still don't know that you dwell amongst gods. And the gods and the goddesses that are ancestors, their spirits, are still here. Not in heaven so far, far, far away that you can't tap into. Those gates that they're referring to in the afterlife, those gates that they're referring to, yeah, they're portal gates. They're gates to portals. It's not made up. You just have to see stuff outside of how you think, because how you think or how you were taught to think is programming, it's illusion, and it's insane. It's okay to be abnormal because you're supposed to be abnormal. There's nothing normal about a spiritual being. There's nothing normal about a God who has the power to create. Back to what I was talking about, sports. seems more spiritual than sports like, right? Yeah, it's a cover up. It's spiritual manipulation, bro. I mean, what else can I tell you? But I'm going to tell you this about the Raiders. First, they were the Oakland Raiders. Then they were the Los Angeles Raiders. Then they went back to Oakland. And now they're in Las Vegas. Do you see the pattern of what's going on here? The city placements? Okay. Raiders. What do the Raiders represent? They represent lawlessness. The Raiders were savages. Lawlessness with occult permission, meaning they are savages. They are bloody people. But the elites allow this to be. Black and silver. What do black and silver represent? Saturnian death frequencies. Saturnian death frequencies. Saturnian frequencies. Alright. Sound and vibes. Sound and vibes. Pay attention. Time and spirituality are all connected to Saturnian energy. It's basically an energy to keep you spiritually dead so that you won't wake up. How is that tied to sports? What are more sports fans? What are more sports fans? They're sleep. They're consumers. They spend their money on gear and fan gear and put all kinds of decals on their cars and shit that doesn't matter. You're actually paying homage to spiritual manipulation. What you're really doing is paying homage to Zeus when you watch sports and you participate in the professional sports, not sports, period. Professional sports. When you tune into and you serve your hand, your hard earned money, your wages, the wages of sin is death. I just told you Saturnian energy is sound and vibes to keep you stuck and spiritually dead in the matrix. That's what that black and silver represents. When you're a savage, you're not woke. You haven't awakened. You're a savage. You're acting as a human and not a god. You're humane. You're not godly. You can't be both. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve the master humanity and the master, the godly master. Which one do you serve? Zeus or the real God within, the Most High, the Creator? The artificial God or the Creator God? Which one do you serve? Because only one dwells within. The one outside of you is Zeus. Okay, the black and the silver represent Saturnian death frequencies. Alright? Saturn is a grim reaper planet. So, what do Los Angeles and Oakland have in common? Trauma. Genocidal trauma. Black. God on God crime trauma. The gods are at war. These are war zones. Bloody war zones with high murder rates. What is Vegas? A lawless fucking city where prostitution rules. See what I just told you? Where prostitution rules. I just told you. The Raiders represent what? Lawlessness with occult permission. The elites have constructed and are orchestrating this. You have to know what you're watching when you're watching it. Professional sports is what I'm specifically referring to. I'll keep going. Saturn is a Grim Reaper planet. You can look this information up yourself, right? Ancient spiritual systems that go with rules, control, time, death, and karma. Ancient spiritual systems. This is what the planet Saturn is connected to. The Grim Reaper planet is connected to ancient spiritual systems of rules, control, time, death, and karma. Death, Oakland, and Los Angeles are very familiar with high murder rates, crime, lawlessness. Las Vegas, high murder rate, crime, occult permission. These cities still have high murder rates from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Still have lawlessness with occult permission. Girls go out and get trafficked all the time in Vegas. Cali too. Prostitution is very bad. Human trafficking is very bad. Not to mention God trafficking, goddess trafficking, but I'll leave that alone. We'll call it human trafficking for now. What's another significant team that I could point out? Let's see. I don't know. The Bulls. The Bulls. What's significant about the Chicago Bulls? What's significant about the Chicago Bulls? Let's see what's significant about it. The bull is a sacred animal in Kemet, right? And also the Roman Empire, the Taurus, right? Taurus energy, the bull, right? Bull energy is aggressive, right? So, also, what does that relate to and refer to? It's also tied to the god Maloko, a demonic being that demands child sacrifice. What city is known for organ trafficking and teens killing each other? This drill rap that these teenagers are getting killed behind, these gang wars that these teenagers are getting killed behind publicly, and niggas making whole YouTube channels about it. To fill their pockets, but not offering not one damn solution. Won't go out there for nothing in the world to try to save those kids, but will profit off of their trauma though, right? Yeah, Zeus energy. Just because they look like this does not mean they're a god. Yeah, they're transformed, they're transferred to the Zeus energy, the artificial gods. That's who they bow to. They're going to be stuck in the simulation in the matrix. I'm just being honest with you. You sold their soul, bro. It's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it. But you see how these city placements and you see how the certain mascots and logos that they use are tied to spirituality because everything is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? And it even had that watching the Bulls play in the 90s was energy extraction. What does that mean? Energy extraction. Draining of the energy. And global idolatry. Who didn't worship the Bulls? Rodman, Pippen, Jordan, Harper. I thought nothing of it. Don't let the Bulls play on Sunday. Oh no, I can't make it to church today, so I gotta watch the Bulls play. And that's not a reference to you should be going to church. I'm just saying from experience, what I've seen. God is so important. Your Jesus is so important that, yeah, I think I could miss a Sunday, dog. I'm going to go watch these Bulls play in these playoffs. All right. Jordan's down there, a billionaire. He's still standing in the projects. Never mind. So, I just broke it down to you. And since I stay in Jacksonville, Florida, the last thing I want to break down is like stadium names. It's not a coincidence that certain names on certain stadiums or certain arenas. But the one example I used was Jacksonville, Florida, since we had the Jaguars. The Jaguar represents what? Being untamed and resistant. That's the energy of the city. But you're not going to believe this. Stadiums. What are stadiums? Artel Stadium was the first name for the Jacksonville Jaguars field. It was Artel forever. What's the frequency of Artel Stadium? All these stadium names have frequencies, and they also have spiritual functions attached to them. It's not just a game, bro. It's not just a game. If it was just playing sports, if it was just being a musician, if it was just being a high level content creator, why is all this other shit attached to it? Why you can't just make content? Why you can't just run the ball down the field to the best of your ability? Why you can't just dribble the ball up and down the court and score and play the style you want to play in? What's all the rules? What's all these ceremonies and all this? Oh, okay. Artel. What's the frequency of Artel Stadium? Telecom. And telecom was what? A mind grid. And it also consisted of throat chakra manipulation. TIAA field. What's the frequency of TIAA field? Death and wealth. Soul contracts and life force annuities. Hold on. What are life force annuities? So I went and I researched just for the watchers of this video. Spiritual annuity. A life force annuity is when your spiritual energy, your creative power, excuse me, I don't know glasses. Sometimes emotions or pain, excuse me for that. Sometimes your emotion and your pain. It's when your spiritual energy and your creative power, and sometimes your emotion or your pain, is harvested on a repeated cycle. How many games are played every year? 16 and 17. Repeated cycle on the same day, Sunday. Right? Right. A distraction day. Because most men, when they leave church, the first distraction, you get your energy siphoned from church and harvested from going to church, from sitting in a lay cage all day, or sitting in a demonic grid all day. You already got your energy siphoned from church. Then you go to watch the game or put your energy into the game and get your energy siphoned there. And if you go to the game, you definitely get your energy siphoned. So by the time you come home, you feel drained. You feel heavy. You feel light. You feel weak. Because your energy just got siphoned. Pay attention. Next time you go to church, pay attention to how you feel when you leave. Like, in-depth attention. Because if you're trying to leave this matrix and the simulation and the illusions that they place before you, this is staged. All of this is staged. It's no coincidence. games. Everything these people do is staged. All right. If it wasn't staged, they wouldn't have games at certain times on certain days, and they wouldn't have schedules. They'll just be playing football. You cut your TV on, you're like, oh shit, they play today? Damn, I didn't know they didn't announce the game. These people make schedules 5, 10 years ahead. They know when they're going to play a game in October 2035. They know who they're going to play, and they know what the city placement is going to be for whatever team is going to play. This is staged. This is staged spiritual manipulation. And we all fell for the banana tail, but we all was into sports. We all, what? Jaguars player? The Cowboys? Well, Cowboys is one of my teams. Alphabet Star. Paying homage to white supremacy. Ruling on black indigenous lives. Who is the commissioner for the Cowboys? Jerry Jones. Just look his track sheet up. Just look his rap sheet up. See if it's squeaky clean. See if he's a good Christian white family man. Alright. Anyway, TIA Field is a modern ritual temple. I repeat, TIAA Field is a modern ritual temple. Human emotion is harvested there. Ley line energy is harvested there because you have people who stay on multiple ley lines or that are from certain key spiritual ley lines, specifically the ones where the gods dwell, that come to these games, and their energy is being placed in these modern ritual temples to be siphoned and harvested. These people been playing spiritual manipulation games, bro. And the stadium designs, they're not an accident. The scoreboards, the lighting, all of this is no coincidence, bro. The corporate cycles, the cycles combine to create a multi-layered soul siphoner. I read that again. The stadium design plus the lighting and the multi-layered. Okay, when I say multi-layered, you know the stadiums, they have levels, multi-layered, right? The stadium design, how it's designed. Those Roman Colosseums, remember them? Right. Okay, how it's designed. Combined with, one more time, combined with the corporate cycles, the advertising, the scoreboard, combined together, are created the siphon energy. It's all a distraction to manipulate you from your energy. You might leave a game and you feel like, damn, emotionally drained. Damn, we lost again. And then you'll notice I'm like, damn, oh, I feel weird. The fuck going on? The hell just happened to me? You were in a modern ritual temple. You ever heard the old people say, pray without ceasing, meditate without ceasing, cover yourself daily? You have to, because you're in a world where stuff exists and you don't even know really what the fuck's going on. Some of us, in the past 5, 6 years, we're just not picking up on this information. That's 32 years that I didn't have the information, so you're retraining your brain. Just being real with you. I mean, I've been not interested in sports. I still ask questions about certain shit, like the Travis Hunter shit. You know what I'm saying? It was cool to see him, the number 12 again. It's cool to see him, get drafted. But even the drafts, those are soul setting ceremonies. You signed the soul contract, bro. Spiritual manipulation on both ends, whether you're a fan or you're an athlete. And Zeus is the one who staged all of this and put it together. Where did he get his information from? He got it from the gods, the goddess. Zeus is nothing more than a manipulator. He can only manipulate what was already here. He can only control what was already controlled. He studied, he watched, and boom, he placed a stronghold on the land and took over the fucking world. Hey man, I don't know what you think this is, but bro, if you don't want to look at it from this angle, if sports is that real and that serious to you, excuse me, more power to you, bro. More power to you. Because, I don't argue over things that, once you receive certain information and you start to show yourself approval. What am I arguing? I just told you what sports really represent. I just gave you valuable information on what sports represent. Why would I go back and forth with somebody? That's wasted energy. Well, it's not wasted energy. It's really, I don't want to say a waste of time because time doesn't exist. It's just really pointless. I'm going to argue with you about something that I know and I have seen and I have spiritually examined. And then I went further in depth to look and research the information to make sure that I wasn't a crazy fuck. And you going to argue with me? It makes no sense. Spiritual manipulation, bro. Zeus represents spiritual manipulation and he has manipulated the world to follow him and his tactics and be programmed by his tactics. Those who don't follow, they suffer. But those who don't follow and they're tuned in and they rebel against the strongholds of Zeus, they're walking in their God power because they know they were here before Zeus even existed. All of this shit is tied to sports. Sports is witchcraft, nigga. It's witchcraft. It's witchcraft at its finest. Oh, you can't come to church for the church is a ritual temple, and them stadiums you be sitting in to pay hundreds of dollars to sit in, and then it's not even comfortable seats. But you'll chill, you'll watch, pull your phone out and all, record video footage of them, buy jerseys, watch guys going down there. Then you gotta find a parking space. Then you gotta walk back to your car. And the point of that was what? The point of that was you got your energy harnessed from you. They're harvesting energy from the gods. They love when black fans come and spend their money. They love being placed in cities where that black god, black, when I say black, it's not, okay, I'm talking about the gods, alright? I don't believe in colors either, but that's the color that they associate us with. So I use the word black so I won't feel so detached and disassociated with what's going on, right? Whatever the case may be. They're harvesting God energy. They've been harvesting God's energy since we've been here. Since they've been here, they've been siphoning energy. That's all it's about. If you think it's about that paper money and all them cells they make, how do you think they got all them cells? They siphon energy. They manipulate energy. That's all these people do. Everything is based on energy, bro. They are energy manipulators. They have mastered manipulating energy and profited greatly from it. Think I'm still talking about paper money. Them people made that fucking money. You think they care about that shit? They know that shit is fake. They know it's an illusion. It's their shit. You think we're gonna let you make more of this shit than we the ones who print this shit? You can't print it. It's against our guidelines and laws. You can't print it. It's against our guidelines and laws. The only way you can get it is if we issue it to you. You still have to go to our banks to cash them checks. You still have to have bank accounts if you want to save some of that money. And the rest of the money you're going to spend on your family, groceries, bills, and then you might have a little recreational money left. I need that too. Come to the stadium so I can get your energy, dumbass. In business, they'll call you a consumer, and that's an insult. A consumer. Someone that eats the bullshit. That's how they view you. You eat our bullshit. And we manipulate your energy so you can eat our bullshit. And we profit greatly from it. It's our money. We print the shit in. We don't give a fuck about that. We got your energy. We can control you. We can weaken you into lesser beings. We can lessen you to become a human when you don't even know you're supposed to be a god in the first place. I'm out.